Did you know that 76% of employees report experiencing moderate to high levels of stress? This is a staggering number. It points to a deep systemic issue in how we approach work. For too long, we have celebrated the wrong thing. We praise resilience, we admire the employee who works through the weekend to meet a deadline, we call it grit. We label it dedication, but what we are often rewarding is a person's ability to endure unsustainable conditions. This praise becomes a trap. It signals that burnout is a badge of honor. It creates a culture where survival is the baseline expectation, not a warning sign that something is terribly wrong. When we constantly push for resilience, we are implicitly telling our people that their exhaustion is their problem to solve. We offer them wellness apps and yoga classes, but we do not change the crushing workloads or the unclear expectations that cause the stress in the first place. This approach is not just ineffective, it is harmful. It places the burden of a broken system squarely on the shoulders of the individual. It suggests that if they just tried a little harder, breathed a little deeper, or organized their time a little better, they could handle the pressure. People are not breaking. The systems we have built are. Praising resilience without examining the environment that demands it is a form of gaslighting. It ignores the reality of the workplace. It keeps people stuck in a cycle of constant stress, recovery, and more stress. This survival mode is incredibly costly. It depletes our energy. It stifles our creativity. We stop learning, we stop growing, and we stop innovating because all our resources are dedicated to just making it through the day. Eventually, our best people burn out completely. They disengage from their work or they leave altogether, searching for a place where they can do more than just survive. The cost to both the person and the organization is immense, so we have a choice to make. We can continue to praise the ability to withstand pain, or we can start building cultures where people do not have to be in pain to begin with. The conversation needs to shift away from individual toughness and toward collective well-being. It is time to stop asking our teams to be more resilient and start asking ourselves how we can build workplaces that are more supportive. The goal should not be to bounce back from hardship. The goal should be to create an environment where people can flourish, grow, and bring their best, most creative selves to work every single day. We need to trade our obsession with survival for a commitment to thriving. These two states are worlds apart. Surviving is about getting by. It is about conservation of energy, avoiding risk, just making it to the end of the day or the project. Thriving is something else entirely. Thriving means to feel alive, to keep learning. It is characterized by a sense of vitality and continuous growth. When we are thriving, we have the energy to engage fully, the curiosity to explore new ideas, and the psychological safety to contribute without fear. Thriving is the state where our best work happens, not by accident, but by design. At the very heart of thriving is the concept of agency. Agency means people can make real choices. It is the belief that you can act and have a meaningful impact on your environment. Agency is a fundamental human need. It is the feeling that you are a driver in your own life, not just a passenger. In the workplace, agency rests on autonomy, competence, and relatedness. If we want to move our teams from surviving to thriving, we must build it intentionally. Research points to 3 simple, actionable domains where leaders can make a real difference. The first pillar is resource stewardship. Actively balance work demands and available resources. Ensure people have the time, tools, and support they need without sacrificing well-being. Shift from "how much can my people handle" to "what do my people need?" Conduct regular workload audits. Delay deadlines or re-scope projects when the team is stretched. Protect time off with clear norms like no after-hours messaging. Provide easy access to mental health support and build flexibility into schedules. Provide absolute clarity on roles, responsibilities, and priorities. When expectations and resources align, competence and autonomy soar. The second pillar is developing cognitive flexibility. Teach people how to think, not what to think. Use the AIR method: awareness, inquiry, reframing. Notice thoughts and emotions without judgment. Ask curious questions like, what is another way to look at this? Then choose a perspective that empowers action, finding a useful truth, not toxic positivity. The third pillar, and perhaps the most important, is building a culture of transparent communication and procedural justice. Trust is the currency of a thriving workplace, and it is built when people believe processes are fair, clear, consistent, and applied equally. Share the why behind changes, invite input before decisions, and create safe channels to raise concerns without fear of retribution. Transparency requires courage, even admitting when you do not have all the answers. With fair process, people commit, take smart risks, and surface problems early. Consider Patagonia, on-site childcare, flexible schedules, even surfing when the waves are right. Supporting whole people builds loyalty and retention. At Microsoft, the shift from know-it-all to learn-it-all trained leaders to model curiosity, value questions, and embrace a growth mindset. In healthcare, participatory staffing gives nurses agency, reducing burnout and turnover and improving patient care. Moving from resilience to thriving is a systems problem, not a people problem. Offering a wellness app while maintaining exhausting systems is like handing a small bucket to someone standing in a flood. Stop training tougher people. Build better systems with rules, norms, and habits that reduce demands and increase resources. As leaders, we are the architects of these systems. Begin by reducing loads, increasing support, empowering choice, and fostering genuine human connection. This is the hard work of leadership, creating conditions for creativity, passion, and courage. When people feel seen, supported, empowered, they do not just survive, they innovate, they collaborate, they drive the organization forward. So where do we start? 3 concrete actions. First, conduct an honest workload audit and make a real plan to address one major stressor. Second, introduce the AIR method. Model it by reframing a recent challenge as a learning opportunity. Third, before your next big decision, actively solicit input and transparently explain the why behind the final choice. These small, deliberate steps build momentum. Cultivating agency unlocks human potential. People do better work and stay longer. The business becomes more resilient by being more adaptive, innovative, and connected. Let us stop asking people to be tougher and start building kinder, smarter, more human organizations where people truly thrive.